We're here today with Eric Messenger from New York Family Magazine. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to be here.
I love New York Family Magazine. I see it in the streets all the time. I pick up my copy. I check it out. It gets me up to date on what's going on in the city. And also, I enjoy reading the articles about some of the high-profile women who are entrepreneurs and moms in New York City. What prompted you to create New York Family Magazine?
It was a confluence of factors. I myself became a parent. I was a journalist who was getting increasingly involved in the family world. Then my kids come, and then I got a call from someone who owns the property and said, we just bought this property in New York Family. Do you want to come in and recreate it? At the same time, demographically, more and more families were staying in the city, whereas in years past, they may have moved out to the suburbs. So there were these very interesting personal and also citywide trends going on that made sense for a city magazine.
Right, that makes sense to me. I think being the dad is the most pivotal impetus for all of us. When we become parents, suddenly things are in a total different light, and suddenly our values might shift and change, and what we focus on in our careers might also alter a bit, and that might be both for figuring out how to balance better being a dad with being a career person, and it might come from actually just having new interests as being a father, right?
The dad question. I find that with guys, it really is a huge journey.
Right.
It's a huge second act, if you will. Broadly speaking, parenting is definitely one of those things that you really don't know until you have to, until the baby arrives. But women generally, I think, have a clearer sense of what's ahead, and guys are like, there is a journey, there's a journey there, and
right.
Quite a wonderful journey.
Right.
As you're suggesting, all of a sudden, you're in many cases. Your priorities change, your time changes, a lot of things that you thought, your little small comforts change. It's a big deal.
I think you said something that made a lot of sense to me just now, which is that guys really don't get what parenting is until they're in it. I think women have a much more instinctual understanding of, parenthood and what it requires. I know that Amelia was kicking and screaming until the very end, and I'm the one who really wanted to have the kid. And after we had our son, who I love and adore, and it's a truly amazing process, it's much harder than I ever thought it would be. Much harder. And it's very challenging. And, I was talking a little bit with Alita St. James in one of the other interviews about how we can use parenting to help us grow. And I think that, you're missing out on something as a parent if you're not using it as an opportunity to grow. Because, you can become a more well-rounded and more balanced person on the other side of this process.
Yeah. Well, of course, women would probably argue that guys aren't known for their growth skills. But you're absolutely right. And of course, it's not just about fatherhood; it's also about being a partner.
Right.
Right. And all of a sudden, you're presented with all these demanding challenges, and you have to make both kind of general philosophical adjustments, but also, moment to moment. Am I going to be the guy who's going to yell and scream?
Right.
Am I going to be the guy who sort of says, okay, I'm the parent and that's the child.
Right.
Let me see if I can handle this situation in a way in which I live in a calm, loving household.
Right.
And we all know as parents that that doesn't come naturally.
Right. Right.
But as I think you're suggesting, a big part of the journey is how to get there, right? Right? How to manage your emotions and commit to living in a certain way that is kind of idealistic, I think.
Right. Right. And I think New York Family Magazine helps a lot of people know about the types of choices that are out there in terms of not only education but entertainment and weekend activities and there's a whole panoply of interesting things that you guys present. I would like to talk a little bit more about some of the cover stories that you've had. You've had Gossip Girl's Kelly Rutherford. You've had Ugly Betty's Anna Ortiz.
Right.
You've had CNN American Morning co-anchor Kiran Chetri. What types of qualities do you look for in the women who become cover stories?
Right. Well, as you can imagine, none of these people are my best friends.
Right.
So it's always a long shot. I mean,
right.
I don't know. It's not always a long shot. It's always a shot in the dark as to
who you can get.
Definitely who you can get, but also what's the person like? What do they have to say?
I see.
Now I find there have been most people who are committed to parents, have a lot to say about it.
Right.
They really
right.
do, and actually. I enjoy reading these interviews. I find invariably they're relatable, and
right.
and we all, like, even if you and I are talking, we're bound to kind of say things that'll resonate with each other or surprise each other on the parenting front, and it's almost the same. It's almost always that case of anyone who's a parent, anyone who lives it, has something to share.
Right.
So it's good.
Right. Yeah, I think it's common ground that it really doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, what career path you're on. Parenting is something that, if you have a daughter or a son, you're a parent. So it's a very relatable experience. And everybody on the planet, for all of us who are here now, we all have parents.
Right.
So there's a very, very large population of people on the planet who are parents. So it's a pretty large demographic.
Yeah, and in fact, let's say recent covers, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, from The View, she was very open and and disarming with a lot of her kind of less than banner moments.
Right.
Like forgetting one of her child's first day of nursery school.
Oh, right.
And, I think to varying degrees we've all been there.
Right.
There's a lot. And she was our January cover. Our March cover in our new issue is Katie Brown, the kind of, she's often touted as a hipper but also sweeter, Martha Stewart type. She has two children. One she had herself, and another she adopted. And one part of the interview that really, continues to resonate with me is her talking about the adoption process and, just how it was quite natural to embrace each child equally. It's your child. So that just comes up because I literally just edited it. But there are always these wonderful little bits of wisdom that come out of their mouths, and it's all about them being parents.
Right.
The celebrity thing is almost meaningless in this regard.
Right. That makes sense to me. Is there a woman or a man that you have been tracking down that you'd love to interview that has proved elusive to you?
Big Mike is right next door there. That's
Big
kind of
Mike.
cool.
That's a good idea for an interview, I think. He's a dad.
He's awesome. My team and I spent a lot of time in these kind of wish fulfillment sessions, thinking all the people who would be our dream covers and how their celebrities probably won't even, their publicists won't even ask them, even if we submitted a request. So, if Tina Fey happens to be tuning into this album and, she is familiar with New York Family, she would always be welcome on our cover. Same with Sarah Jessica Parker. On the dad front, the manager of the Yankees would be pretty cool. If Derek Jeter ever has a child, once again, he would be a lot of fun. Those people those are the people on the top of the dream list.
Yeah, that sounds like a good dream list to me.
Yeah,
and I think your dream of having Big Mike is probably going to come true.
A little more tangible.
Yeah, since you got some good connections to Big Mike.
Right.
So one last question: how do people find out more about New York Family Magazine? Do you guys have a website?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. New York, we invest a lot of resources, probably as much as in the print magazine as we do on the website. So NewYorkFamily.com, lots of stuff going on there. And we also have a weekly newsletter, which you could sign up for at NewYorkFamily.com. And I think we're up to about 20,000 local families. A lot of people plug into us through the newsletter. It's things to do on the weekend, but it's also parenting tips, shopping bits, it's kind of all of it. It's like our greatest hits.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the site. It's a great resource.
Thank you.
Eric, thank you so much for coming today. I know that you said you have to drop your daughter off to the orthodontist, so you have to switch your time. So that's true grit right there. That's parenting grit at its finest.
I also have to go find a gift for my nanny who's leaving us.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So it's a total New York parenting
kind of day
moment that I'm living.
Yeah, it's difficult. Nannies are such special people in our lives, so that I know that's a difficult thing to go through. So hopefully your daughter or son is adjusting to that well.
Well, we'll find out.
Thanks again, Eric.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.